The moment you've waited for, we are going to start building pages. Now, I didn't start building pages until now because I wanted you to get an idea of all the tools and tips and tricks and all that stuff before we start diving into building pages. So this one is going to be a very simple 12 by 12. And a lot of you are probably thinking, gosh, I'm just not very creative, Michelle. What am I going to do if I don't have any idea how to lay out a page? So what I would suggest for those of you who are in that state is to go to Google and type in something like digital scrapbook simple layouts or something like that. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to type that in, digital scrapbooking simple layouts, and I'm going to click on images. And that's going to pull up a ton of different layouts. Now, I'm not saying that you need to copy these layouts, but it will give you an idea of sort of what you want to have in mind. So let's just say you've got 5 photos. First thing you want to do is make sure you pick out the photos that you want to use first. The next thing you want to do is you want to try to find a layout. Now, it could go either way. You could find the layout first and then pick your photos, or you can pick your photos and then find the layout. It might be better or easier for you to find the layout first and then pick your photos, but whatever floats your boat. So I'm just going to look through some of these layouts, and some of them are templates and some of them are, kids, girls, boys, adults, things like that, but it's just going to start sparking your creativity. So once you find a layout, what you're going to do is you're going to kind of make it your own. You're going to create your own thumbnail. And what I mean by that is, let me show you the thumbnail that I created for this layout. All I did was I took out a piece of paper, a pencil, and just did a square because it's going to be a 12 by 12. And I also went ahead and put in where the photos will be. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stay this way, but at least it gives you an idea and you're not going to sit there with a blank sheet of paper. All right? So let's build a page. We're not going to use any DigiKits right now because we haven't really even talked about DigiKits or clusters or anything like that. We're just going to build a very, very simple page. So I'm going to keep my thumbnail up so that I can watch it. I'm going to go File and New and Blank File. Now we're going to create a 12 by 12, so I'm going to go to Document Type, go to Scrapbooking. Now if you wanted to do 8 by 8 or 6 by 6, you can certainly do that, but I'm going to go with a 12 by 12. It fills in everything else for you. And then it's going to bring up, well, of course, this page. Now, if for some reason it brings up a little small slither of a page, you might go into Window, Images, and New Window, and that will bring up your 12 by 12. We want to make sure that it is a 12 by 12, so I'm going to go up under View and Rulers, and it says in the corners 12, and down in the bottom left-hand corner by 12. You can also go into Image, Resize, and Image Size, and there it will say 12 by 12 300 resolution as well. So now we got a good start, right? We got the page. It's a white blank sheet, but we got to start. Next, I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm going to save this either as a PSD file or as a TIFF. Now, a lot of you are used to saving it as a PSD file, and that's totally fine. That's usually how I save it. But if you save it as a TIFF, I believe it shows you the thumbnail instead of just having a PSD, like a default icon. So either way, you can practice back and forth. Let's go with the PSD for now. I'm going to highlight the file name. I'm just going to call this first dash layout. And I picked PSD for my list of drop downs, and you'll notice here it says PSD as well. Next, I'm going to start bringing in some of my photos. Now there's 2 or 3 ways you can do this. I'm going to show you both ways. I'm going to go File and Place. Now I do know which photo I want to use as far as my main photo. So I've got this photo here. I've gathered all my photos inside of its own folder. So you want to do that before you get started. And I'm going to place that inside of my page. Now I'm going to try to stick with what's going on over here. Now normally I don't suggest that you enlarge photos very much. Probably only maybe about 110% or 10% of bigger than what you had it before. You just have to be really careful. You don't want to stretch those pixels too much. So I think that that's good. I'm going to keep it right about here in the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to leave room for some text over here. And I'm just going to keep that there. Next, I'm going to go File and Open. I'm going to open up a photo. This is another different way to do it. Open this photo. I'm going to use my rectangle marquee tool. So it's the rectangle marquee tool. I'm not going to have a feather on it. I'm going to hold my Shift key down and I'm going to create a block around the part that I want to keep. I think I want to keep this part here. So I'm going to go get my Move tool, drag and drop it, and you could also crop it instead of doing it this way, but we'll do that next time so you can see the differences. So I pulled that photo in there and I'm going to close that out because I don't need that one anymore. Be sure not to close this one out. So I'm going to go back in, I'm going to go File and Open, and this time I'm going to go ahead and crop it. So they're showing you all kinds of ways here. So I'm going to take my crop tool, I'm going to hold my Shift key down to make a perfect square, and I'm going to go ahead and select him, click on Commit Current Operation, get my Move tool, drag and drop him into my page. Remember these layers now. If it goes behind that big photo, then you have to move that layer above there. So for instance, if this would have gone behind here, I'll show you here. 1 second. See how it's behind it now? You might have to go in there and drag it and drop it above the layer so you can see it. Okay, we got a couple more photos to bring in. Let's go File and Open. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in JC3. Again, I'm going to use the rectangle marquee tool this time. Hold my Shift key down. Go ahead and select what I want to select. Get my Move tool. Drag it and drop it over to the page, and then close it out. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to use the crop tool this time. Get my crop tool, hold the Shift key down to constrain it to a perfect square. Maybe move it over a little bit. Click on the check mark, go get my Move tool, drag and drop it into my page. Thanks so much for watching this quick video, and my final thought for the day is to make every day count. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Michelle Stelling with the National Association of Digital Scrapbookers, and have a great day.